A courtroom is a very intimidating experience, and for most people who come to the Providence Municipal Court, it's their first and only time they'll be exposed to the judicial system. And they're nervous.
What makes for a good judge?
Good judge is someone who enforces the law, but enforces it by treating those before them. This is a court of law. Don't you act like that. Bang the gavel. You take a seat. You don't speak until you're called on. That happens.
Who's more famous, Judge Judy or Judge Caprio?
Ask him what kind of music he likes. Did he have on like Barbara Streisand, Tony Bennett, Frank Sinatra? Like, what kind of music was he playing?
Bachata, una bachatica.
It's a Dominican music, bachata.
I try to make him feel comfortable, and when I asked him to dance, he was pretty. All of a sudden, he became a different person. Yeah.
There you go. You got the moves, Judge. You got it. All right. If you follow me on social media, you know that this is one of my favorite clips. Let's take it right into Chief Judge Frank Caprio of the Providence Municipal Court, the Dominican dancer. Check it out.
Ask him what kind of music he likes. Did he have on like Barbara Streisand, Tony Bennett, Frank Sinatra? Like, what kind of music was he playing?
Bachata, una bachatica.
It's a Dominican music, bachata. Spanish. Yeah.
Bachata?
Bachata.
Bachata.
It's fun. You should try it, Judge.
Ask him if he dances to the music.
¿Usted baila bachata?
Sí.
Let me tell him I want to see the move. I want to see the kind of dance it is. Let me see the dance.
No, pero eso es merengue.
All right, we're going to issue him a summons for disturbing the peace today. Tell him I thank him for the exhibition of dancing. I enjoyed it immeasurably, but tell him to lower the volume.
Okay, gracias.
All right, he can dance his way right out of here.
Dice que baila hasta afuera.
Okay.
Well, all rise for the Honorable Judge Frank Caprio here with us today. Judge, what an honor to have you here with me today. So nice to meet you.
It's my pleasure.
You look nicer in person than on the video. America's nicest judge, the world's nicest judge, America's coolest judge. There's so many, you have so many titles, Judge.
Well, some are deserved and some are not so well deserved.
Well, what are the good? Well, let's start with the bad ones. What's the worst thing they've called you?
You know, I have a mental lapse.
A lot of people have mental lapses when they go into courtrooms too.
No. For the most part, we've received favorable reviews. For the most part, I try to treat people, with respect and dignity, which they're entitled to. A courtroom is a very intimidating experience, and for most people who come to the Providence Municipal Court, it's their first and only time they'll be exposed to the judicial system. And they're nervous. And many times being nervous manifests itself that they almost seem combative, but they're not really combative. They're scared. In particular with young people, when you get children that come into the courtroom.
Well, I admire that because there's so many people that are, there's immigrants or people that don't know the language. They're adapting to the culture as they're trying to integrate into other cities that are so diverse, like Providence or other big cities like Miami or Los Angeles or New York. And as a former full-time police officer and still current reserve officer, I can't tell you the amount of times when you stop people for a ticket and they just don't understand it. And some people, they don't take the time, or officers don't take the time, or people in the court system, they have so much work on their shoulders that they don't take the time. And again, it could be the first time that they encounter with the law, and they're intimidated. They make decisions, or they might say something that they're not supposed to say, or don't say enough. Victims of crimes are also, this happens a lot in the immigrant community, and a lot of people are afraid to step up and say something.
They're intimidated is the right word. Now this gentleman, he was pretty affable, So what did he do? What was the serious offense? He had the music on too loud. Now, am I going to, become unwound and start yelling at him? And you were disturbing people. I know that whole system of government where everything is bad. That's not a bad deal. So I try to make him feel comfortable, and when I asked him to dance, he was all of a sudden, he became a different person.
Yeah.
If you notice before that, he was scared.
He was scared.
And we had the interpreter, and he was nervous.
Even the interpreter caught on, though. What he played was merengue, technically. It wasn't the bachata. And again, the word is bachata. You've learned a lot of Spanish now.
Bachata.
Yeah, there you
I
go.
got that,
Did you learn any
bachata.
moves? Did you learn any bachata moves? All right,
yeah.
Extreme.
I'm
You're gonna have to.
dancing.
You have some bachata there. Extreme. Get us a little merengue or bachata, and Judge Frank Caprio is gonna tear it up here.
I'm going to do the bachata.
You got some bachata there? On the. He's always ready. Let's see. How does that go? There you go. You got the moves, Judge. You got it. I love your sense of humor. So you now retired after 40 years on the bench.
It was time.
How difficult was that for you to step down?
Well, it was a relief in one way. In another way, it was a sad situation.
A relief? Why?
Because I miss the people. I miss being there. Most people that came before my court, they were middle-class, hardworking people. I came from a middle-class, hardworking family. My dad was born in Italy, came here, with $3 in his pocket when he first came to the United States and worked as a laborer, It was tough, get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and go to work. So I understand when they come in. I empathize with them. I was there. My dad was there. And I know how difficult it can be, So that's why I always treat them with the utmost of respect, even when I find them. Let them know that they're entitled to dignity and respect.
Everybody should.
Well, unfortunately, that's not life.
Right, unfortunately. And we see a lot of that in our awesome country nowadays, But I like the way that when you're on the bench, it's common sense. And I've always said common sense above any type of rule or regulation or law. Not that in the sense that go out and break the law, but common sense should always overrule.
Yeah.
You think a lot of people are missing common sense? Just don't have it?
It's two things. It's common sense and compassion. Compassion. Placing yourself in the shoes of the person that's before you. And I do that. But common sense is very important, It's a delicate balance between enforcing the law and giving to someone the consideration that they're entitled to.
When you were a kid, what did you want to do?
I never wanted to do anything else except be a lawyer.
Really?
I was 10 years old. It was freezing outside, and we lived in a cold water flat. That means we didn't have hot running water. And we had a potbelly stove. And we were, remember the day we were sitting, the oven door was open so we could stay warm. And my dad was talking to my older brother, 2 years older than myself. And he put his hand on my shoulder and he said to me, someday you're going to be a lawyer. And you can't charge poor people. He says, you can't charge poor people. It was almost like it was an order from God. I never, from that day on, ever wanted to do anything else in life except be a lawyer. And I use that. I tell people that so many times you can change people's lives just by putting your hand on their shoulder, letting them know that you care, that you're interested in them, And it's sad that so many people don't have that. They don't have people who can give them guidance, And
Judge, I know you just retired, but is there any way can we clone you? We need more humans like you on the bench. Honestly.
well,
You think judges are, I mean, in a municipal court, obviously we got to put this in context too, right? These are infractions that are people,
of course,
infractions, for having loud music, infractions for, not having the right documents or your vehicle not being up to speed, things that can be corrected. You don't necessarily have to throw the book at them. But do you think in general, judges are too rough or not rough enough?
all depends on the judge. It's like everything else in life, we have so many competent people in many professions, and we have people who aren't so competent, aren't so understanding. It's just life.
What makes for a good judge?
Good judge is someone who enforces the law, but enforces it by treating those before them with impartiality, with respect, and compassion and understanding. You know what I mean? Everybody has a different situation in life. It's like the same story. How do you, what kind of a sentence to give someone who stole 3 bottles of milk from someone else's doorstep? You know, in the first case, oh, they stole milk, you know, that's a crime and so forth. And then you say, well, suppose they stole it because they had children, they had no money, and their children needed milk. No, that's the classic example in the law. Well, that's a different story. Well, it's the same way in traffic court. You know, you hear stories that break your heart. You know, I mean, I had a woman come in with her son standing beside her, and he tried to talk, and she says, no. I said, no, let him talk. And he says, I'm autistic. And he gave the most impassioned speech. It broke my heart. He says, I just want to be treated like everyone else in life. You know, I'm trying hard. And I actually brought him up on the bench, you know.
You tend to have brought a lot of people up on the bench. Let's go with Honest Boy. This is
Honest Boy.
This is one of the instances where you brought a child up to the bench and got them to testify, but shoulder to shoulder with you. Check this out.
Hi. Come up here. Bring him up here. I want to ask him a question. I'm going to ask you 2 questions, okay?
Okay.
And you're going to say one or the other. Now, we're talking about your father, right? Now, you're going to say guilty or not guilty. What do you say?
Guilty.
Guilty. An honest boy. Shake hands. Good one. Okay, you can go back.
What was that case for? What did he find his father guilty of?
All right. That's an interesting case for this reason. They came from Africa. They were only here in this country for 6 months. And he was charged with speeding 5 miles over the limit, you know, and it was on a road that the speed limit was questionable. You know, easily could have been the 35-mile-an-hour speed limit. He was doing 30.
And the cop wrote him a ticket for going 5 over?
Yeah, they do. So anyway, and so they had 2 or 3 kids, I think, you know. But imagine that boy for the rest of his life will remember that, being up on the stand. And his vision, imagine if I'm yelling at the parents, you know, saying, what kind of an example are you setting for your child? They were in the car, you know. And let's assume I embarrassed and insulted the parents. That kid would always remember that. And his attitude toward the institutions of a government might be different. But I think that for the rest of his life, he'll think that the courts in this country are pretty just and fair.
And had he had a judge with a bad attitude or a bad day and would have said something negative to his father and seen his father struggling maybe to pay that fine, would have grown up thinking, what a jerk, that judge. Cops suck.
Well, more than
You know
that,
what I mean?
More than that, you never know how it manifests itself and what they do in life. You know, they have this antagonistic attitude.
That young man might now become a judge one day
I hope
or a
so.
police officer one day.
I think he's going to do very well.
Thanks to
Thanks to
you
his
being more compassionate and taking into consideration his age and the impact that you could have on that young man's life and on that family.
Well, it's going to be thanks to his parents, but I hope that I have this much influence on him sometime in life. You know? But that's a great case.
That was a beautiful case.
That's got so many different elements to it. You know, as a young boy, he's in a courtroom, they're nervous, they come from another country, they're in a new country. His father has to go to court. What's going to happen? You know?
Judge,
I have to tell you a story about
please.
that. My father was one of 10 children, and my grandfather was a fruit peddler. My grandfather and some of his buddies, late on a Saturday night, they finished peddling fruit, and they got a little boisterous, and my grandfather got arrested. And my grandmother, they went to my grandmother and said, you have to be in court tomorrow morning. Your husband's in court. And she gets nervous, so she goes around to all the other fruit peddlers and says, I need money. She's going to court the next day, right? Next day, she's got 3 dresses on. It's cold. And she's got this money in the 3rd dress. And my father goes down. He's going to be the interpreter. And my father told me this story. He said his father came up from the cell, and he was disheveled, you know. And as soon as he came up, he sat down, and they called the case. And my grandmother got up, and she said, before before the judge even said anything. And she started walking toward the judge, and she said, "Please, the judge, please, no jail. I got the money. I got the money." She's crying. And my father said, that great man, that great Irish judge, he says, he looks at my mother and he says, Mama, he says, your husband is a good man. He had a bad day. I'm going to send him home with you. You cook him a nice meal, you know. And he just was so kind to my grandmother. My dad told me that story so many times. It changed his life. And I often think what would have happened if that judge just berated my grandmother or my grandfather. This is a court of law. Don't you act like that. You know, bang the gavel. You take a seat. You don't speak until you're called on. That happens. Breaks my heart. And I always remember that. That's another situation like that.
You think kindness is interpreted as weakness by a lot of people?
Well, it is, but it's not. Kindness is strength. All the elements in life, you know, how do you treat people? You treat everyone equally with compassion.
You treated this young man equally and with a lot of compassion, and he was in your courtroom at 18, and then he later came to your courtroom. He came in as a bad boy, right? And now he's a good boy. Let's check this out.
You're free to go.
Oh, but I want to tell you something about my life.
Well, let me get comfortable.
Okay. Just, I want to tell you thank you because like 20 years ago, I was a bad boy. Like I be here every month to get a speeding limit ticket, drunken driver, and I spent $53,000 to be a citizen. I have 16 years citizen of United States. You told me by that time, I'm 18 years old, and you say, why you want to be later? You want to be in jail? You want to die? Or you want to be somebody? And I say, I want to be somebody. And I took...
No, I want to hear it.
I took my CDL. I'm a truck driver. Thank you.
Yeah, that's great.
That's amazing. How often in your 40 years do people come back and say thank you?
Actually, quite often. You know, I don't have a percentage, obviously, but it's more often than you would think. And it's very rewarding to me. It just makes me feel like I'm doing my job. You know?
So your show became nationally syndicated, and I think I've heard you say you don't like it being called a show. Right? Am I using the wrong word?
Well, because it's not a show in the Hollywood sense.
Right.
It's an actual court proceeding.
It's not a scripted show. This is not a.
Oh, you can't script that.
You can't script. This is real life. This is a real reality show.
This is the real thing, baby.
Yes, sir.
This is the real thing.
So why did it end? It was going so well. So Caught in Providence became this court TV, right? That you can watch live on municipal TV on the channel there in Providence, Rhode Island, and now it's gone. There was some controversy whether like your family was benefiting from that or the city. Some people got upset. Explain to us what happened there.
Oh no, I'm there for 38 years, you know, and like everything else, someone else aspired to that position.
It was time for someone else. Time to move on.
And it was time for me to enjoy my free time. I'm enjoying life. I enjoyed life then. Now I just have more time to enjoy life.
So you're retired now.
I'm retired.
Okay. You're enjoying retirement?
I'm enjoying retirement. I'm doing more now than I was doing before.
Really?
Right? I'm doing stuff like this. I have a chance to do it. See, I'm not sitting on the bench now. I'm having a chance to talk to you and a whole bunch of other people.
And in real life, do you hit the gavel? Do you throw your gavel at people?
No. No, that's not my style.
Do you like watching other reality TV shows like Cops or the First 48, Live PD?
I do. Yeah. Live TV. Actually, I'm watching court TV now. There's some interesting cases going on. There's one with Gwyneth Paltrow. You know, that's on now. And we had one with the alleged murder of in South Carolina. You know, so some real good shows, some live shows. I'm more interested in nonfiction than fiction. I like real life situations.
You ever watch some of those other court shows and like yell at the TV?
No,
Or
I don't
get
do
upset at the
that.
judge. That's right. Why did you know this person? You know.
No. Listen, I'll bring up Judge Judy. She's the gold standard of court programs. You know?
Who's more famous, Judge Judy or Judge Caprio?
Oh, it's Judge Judy. By a
Who's
large-
better looking, Judge
by a large
Caprio or Judge Judy?
She's much better than me in every aspect of
In
it.
a wrestling match, a tag team, who would kick whose ass? Judge Caprio or Judge Judy?
Oh, I don't know. Be
She's
a
pretty
tough-
strong.
Be a tough call, but I think at the end of the day, I might get her.
I love your sense of humor.
You know, I was an all-state wrestler when I was in school.
you really?
Yeah.
Okay, talk to us about that. Why'd you get away from wrestling?
Well,
It was just
my-
enough,
I got away from wrestling because my goal was to be a lawyer,
right?
and so I played football in high school. I wrestled, and I did quite well in wrestling. But my goal in life was to become an attorney, and that was when I went to college. That was all I wanted to do. I couldn't afford to go to college, actually.
How'd you get through? How'd you manage?
It's interesting. I'll give it a quick story, but I worked. You could work then and make enough money to go to college. You can't do that today, you know. But I shined shoes. I waited on tables, and I worked in the kitchen through college, and then law school. I wanted to go to law school so badly, and didn't have enough money, so I changed my major in my last year in college, and I became a school teacher. And I taught school in Providence and drove to Boston nights. Boston's like 55 miles from Providence.
It's pretty far. It's like how long a drive?
50. It was
With traffic, it's probably.
because it was at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Oh,
So
okay.
it was like an hour and a half.
That's still a long drive every day.
Yeah.
So an hour and a half there, an hour and a half back.
Yeah, get home at 11 o'clock, get up,
Yeah.
do the same thing the following day. So I did that for 4 years. So that's how I became a lawyer. You know, but I had the support and love of my parents. That was very important. You know, so I used to say, make my father proud. Made him proud. The day I was sworn in as a lawyer, I'd never forget it. He was there, you know, and he couldn't stop smiling. You know, and I think that the disintegration of the family unit to a degree now is one of the sins of this country.
We see that so much. Single family, single parents trying to, make ends meet, and a lot of them are working 2-3 different jobs. They don't have time, unfortunately, to be there full time for the kids, and that's where the kids get in trouble.
They need a role model. They need someone to give them advice. They need someone to pat them on the shoulder, let them know that they care. That's what they need.
I was talking with, and it's all generational too. I do a podcast with my father, and I enjoy it because he talks about how everything was better when he was young, right?
Yeah.
And everything was better, and there was less traffic, and less violence, and all that stuff. And I remember when I went to high school, we would do drills, and they'd teach us, all the kids, how to hide underneath the tables in case of a hurricane or a tornado or a unfortunate weather event. But nowadays, they're teaching kids how to hide in closets and under the tables, but to hide from bullets. How does that make you feel, Judge?
Breaks my heart. And that's a whole different topic,
Yes.
but we need gun control. We need it so badly. I mean, it's
Is there a way to do it where we can still keep our Second Amendment rights to keep and bear arms and not infringe on those rights, but at the same time have some type of sensible gun control where we don't have to turn on the TV every freaking day and have, this unfortunate news of kids and innocent people being shot?
well, it's a very difficult topic. My personal view is that no one needs an AK weapon.
The assault weapons like the AK-47s,
AK, yeah, I'm
they're made for war,
what is
it?
it?
Yeah.
It's AK-15, I think, is it?
which is the
AR.
AR-15 is
AR-15,
right.
yeah.
AR-15.
We have Harold here. Thank you for your service. Harold's a former Marine, or once a Marine, always a Marine. Yes.
Yeah, but we read now just recently, 3 young people, 3 adults were killed in a school.
Yeah.
With a weapon like that. So it's a heartbreaking thing to read. I mean, to see the anguish in the parents and society. I don't know the answer, but I think we need gun control.
And I think there's a way to do it without people freaking out, right? And people say that, oh, you're anti-Constitution, or you're anti, you don't believe, you think that, or the government's going to take all our guns away. I think that's not the case. I think it's an extreme exaggeration. But definitely, I think that cops shouldn't be outnumbered, number one, and cops shouldn't have to go, walk into these violent situations, and the bad guys have better gear than our policemen and women.
I wish I knew the answer.
Yeah. I'm not pressing you for an answer. I just wanted your opinion on it.
No, I know.
What's your thoughts on defunding the police?
Oh, we can't.
Another controversial one.
Well, it's not controversial with me. I think
Okay.
we have to fund the police very well. I think they do a great job. I mean, they leave in the morning. They don't know if they're coming back at night. It happens every day. Police officers being shot at. They're the first responders. And it's interesting that the first thing that comes to our mind when we have a problem is I'm going to call the police. And we want them there right away. And, I think the police, they not only have to be adequately financed, but they should have the best equipment, available.
100%. The best equipment, the best training,
Best
the
equipment,
best resources
training.
to better be able to deal with these violent situations and protect all of us from it. Yeah. With that said, a shout out to Metro Nashville police officers Rex Engelbert and Michael Collazo. Those are the two officers that stopped this most recent shooter in Nashville that you were mentioning, Judge. And I think that it's not they're not like superheroes, or they're not going to make movies out, but these are the ones that deserve all the applause.
And the video I just watched, they didn't know where the gun person was, and they went into every room, opened the door, exposed themselves, to death.
Yeah.
And they did that.
Without any hesitation.
Right.
I think it was 3 minutes it took them. Arrive on the scene, get together, come up with a quick plan, and get in there. Yeah. And that's how police departments are trained. The majority of the police departments, or at least that's how the FDLE, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, trains their officers here in the state of Florida. I'm a reserve officer, so I'm very well and up to date with all those policies and the training. So if there's active killing, the officer even must enter and stop that, even if you're by yourself. So every time you see a uniform out there, that's what those police officers are willing to do and ready to do it every single day, any hour, any moment.
Yeah, thank God.
Yeah. So I'm curious if on the bench you ever had some girl try to walk in, maybe dress a little sexy.
No.
Or try to let me see if I can get off on this ticket or of this violation. If maybe I wink at Judge Caprio, or never.
No, I mean, I've had obviously females come in that would dress rather seductively, but not because they're coming to court, because that's the way they dress.
Okay, that's just a typical every day for them.
And I don't know. Of course, I wouldn't know that. I don't see them outside of court, although I don't lead a sheltered life as well. But I have some interesting people come into court, obviously.
What's the funniest case you can remember?
The funniest case was a husband and wife came in, and she had the ticket, and she started by saying, I got this ticket. I guess the car was in her name. She says, I got this ticket, but I didn't do it. He did it, right?
She handed up her own husband.
And she said, she said, was that right? He said, yes, dear. And then she went at him, and says, this has to stop. And everything she would say, he'd say, yes, dear, yes, dear. And finally, there was something that happened which is escaping me at the moment.
I think we have it right here, Judge. Let's check it out.
This is my wonderful husband. Oh. I got the ticket. He was driving my car. Oh. I'm not guilty. Oh. He is. Let me explain what happened. I get the ticket in the mail, and I go, what's this? He says, just pay it. I said, what happened? He says, I'm at the corner of Eddie and Dudley, and I turned right on a yellow light. I said, you went through a yellow light? He says, yeah. I said, I'm not paying it. We're going to fight this.
You have to fight him.
Yeah. So, anyway, our son was in the hospital, had a very bad car accident, and he was going there 3 times a day. So I said, we're going to fight this. So Wednesday, we looked at the video for the first time. And I said, you went through a red light. And so that's where we stand.
That's funny. So he got the ticket, but driving. He did.
You can see the rest of it.
All right, keep on.
He's guilty.
I'm not guilty. The ticket's in my name.
No, I
I'm
know.
not guilty.
No, I understand that. I said, you came here today to tell me he's guilty. So the first thing you did was throw him under the bus.
I'm not throwing myself under. You know?
So you think he's really guilty, huh?
When I looked at that video, if I was a policeman, I would say he was guilty.
She's honest.
Me too.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me.
I mean, it was a little bit close. A little bit close.
I want you to assume that you're a policeman right now, okay?
Yeah.
You're wearing Inspector Quinn's badge, okay?
Okay.
And you look at the video, and then you look at the time on the video. Let's see the front face sheet, please. See where it says red time? She's going to put an arrow there.
0.3?
It says 0.3. You know what that means?
No.
That means he went through the light when it was red
3 seconds?
for 0.3 of a second.
Oh, 3/10. So it was close.
Well, you just said he's definitely guilty. I'm trying to explain to you. Now, all
0.3 of a second, that's not much.
right, now, let me finish.
Okay.
You go through this every day?
Yes, Your Honor.
We've been happily married for 43 years, right?
Yes, dear.
You know, when my wife and I meet people, they'll say, how long have you been married? And I say, we've been happily married for 5 years. Now, my wife is much younger looking than I am, but even though, so they say, oh, you've been happily married for 5 years. Is she your second or third wife? I say, oh, no, we've been married 50 years. We've been happily married for 5. But you've been happily married for how long?
Almost 43 years.
43 years. All right, now I'm going to make you a judge, okay?
Okay.
Here you are. Can I call you Linda? You don't mind being
Linda,
called? All right.
that's fine.
All right, Linda, here's the deal. You're the judge, and the statute that set up this offense, right, allows 0.2 of a second to get through the light, and they don't charge you.
Okay.
And
Missed it by 1.
She's not helping him.
and now how do you handle this case? It's 0.3 of a second. Do you give him the benefit of the doubt, right, or do you say, hey, you 0.3, pay the fine? What do you do?
I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Because it's your
And
husband.
he has to take me to dinner.
Oh.
That's the deal.
Well,
I have to agree with her, Your Honor.
it's been my custom. It's been my policy, in effect. Without the city coming in and proving the calibration, I think the difference between 0.2 of a second and 0.3 of a second is so small, right, that I usually give the benefit of the doubt, right? Particularly when they come in with some high-powered defense like you.
You don't have to take me to dinner.
No, I'm not going to take you to dinner. I've been happily married for 5 years.
That'll start off. It would have been another headache for you, right? That's funny.
That was an interesting case.
Very interesting. Definitely, I think there's been more laughter that's come out of your courtroom than anything else. I mean, and sense of humor is what I meant to say, and compassion, and they connect when you connect the dots. But has there ever been a case that's been so rough, you got so emotional? Can you remember one case that made it really tough for you?
It did. Had a woman come in who she had, I think $400 or $500 worth of tickets. And I was being a little tough with this. You know, she had a bad attitude. And next thing I know, she started crying. And I says, "What?" And I questioned her about that. She says, "If only I were there. If only I were there, it never would have happened." I said, "What are you talking about?" She says, "My brother killed my son. And I wasn't there, but if I was there, I knew they had a problem. I could have handled it." And it just was so heartbreaking for me. So to hear that, that was probably the saddest case I've ever heard.
Sounds rough.
Yeah.
I have a situation here on my show, Judge, and I want to take advantage to see if maybe you're able to help me out. DJ Extreme.
How's it
he's
going?
My DJ.
Nice
Savior,
to meet you. Huge fan.
And Harold Valenzuela. So
Harold.
there's a situation here where Extreme, you lent Harold a keyboard and he ruined it or something. Could you tell the judge what's up?
I lent him a keyboard about 6 months ago.
Can this be like the court? Can we turn this into a courtroom?
Okay.
All right.
Oh.
All rise. The Honorable Judge Frank Caprio presiding.
All right, sit down.
So I lent him a keyboard about 6 months ago, and then he gives me the keyboard back. The keys, some of the keys are like stuck on it.
You have the keyboard there, right?
Huh? I think,
It's
hold
here.
on, let me
We have
see.
it in evidence.
Right
Can we
here.
introduce this as evidence, Your Honor?
Here you go.
All right, the court works out Exhibit A.
Exhibit A. Sure.
Exhibit A, there it is.
Exhibit
He
A.
gave me the keyboard back, and it had a bunch of keys that were like stuck. And then when I asked him what happened, he said that, you know, there was like some kind of party or festivity going on at his house.
They were like that.
And when I like tested for what it was, he it was like a whiskey or liquor or something. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't.
No, but wait. Don't be blaming me for the keyboard.
Yeah, bro,
No.
that was you. That wasn't me.
That keyboard was like that when I got it.
No, impossible. It was brand new. I had just bought it like
I don't
like
know
a
if you
week
just
prior.
bought it. No, it was like that when I gave it. And when I got it, it was like that, and I didn't even use it that much, and then I gave it back to you.
Harold, that means be quiet when he does
We're
it.
missing a gavel here. We need something for a gavel. There, that
There you
works.
go.
That works.
There'll be order in the court. All right. Give him an opportunity to present his case.
Okay.
Or we'll hold you in contempt.
Ooh, there you go. There you go. I also brought the.
See, he's full of steam now. Oh, he's feeling good.
I brought the. I brought the evidence of what he spilled on the keyboard because I was able to figure it out, and it's
Would you like to introduce us as Exhibit B, Your Honor?
Exhibit B
There it is.
entered into evidence.
And apparently there's a lot of it missing. So either a lot of it is in, his system and the keyboard.
This is Mama Juana
Yeah.
from Dominican
Very,
Republic.
very popular drink in Dominican Republic.
The question is, right, if this liquid would cause the damage that you allege. So the only way that we will know is if you now take this top off and just pour it all over that keyboard in front of you.
Oh, this one? I don't know if that's a good idea.
Okay, so what do you have to say about this?
That when I got the keyboard was already not working correctly. It wasn't me.
Oh, it was a pre-existing condition.
Pre-existing condition.
Oh, this is the pre-existing condition
Yeah,
defense.
and I know that he likes to eat and drink and stuff when he's working in front of his computer. So I'm pretty sure that maybe he spilled some Coke or something on top of there or some Pepsi.
You calling me a pig?
Yeah, technically yes.
I mean, I can't believe this. When I got that keyboard, it was brand new, and he's like, "Hey, can I borrow it?" I wanted to be a nice coworker. I'm like, "Yo, man, here, of course, yeah, you can borrow it." And then it comes back with a bunch of that all over it, and I don't drink that. That's typical from his country. He drinks it a lot and all his parties with all his friends. You know what I'm saying?
So
It's very good.
So when he got, well, if you didn't drink it, how do you know it's good?
Oh no, I've tasted it, but I don't drink it regularly. That bottle's his. Found it on his side of the room over there.
You tasted it.
Oh, I've tasted it before. You want to taste it?
I've had it already.
Oh, okay.
Before we started.
He's retired now, so he can do that.
You can do that. That's okay.
Judge Caprio, thank you so much. So nice to finally meet you. Please come by more often. Let us know what you're doing. So are you like sunbathing? You're taking in the sun? Are we see you in the sports cars? You're a married man.
I am.
So okay. So
with 5 children.
Wow. You're spending time with any grandchildren?
I do. I spend a great deal of time with my grandchildren and my children as well.
Cool. Are we going to see more of you on the? Well, we see all your. Are we going to see more of you on? You're on social media, of course. Your TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook, caught in Providence, and then on Instagram, you are the real Frank Caprio. The real Frank Caprio on Instagram. Any plans to do any consulting, or you're just enjoying being retired?
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay.
I do not plan to. I'm retired from sitting on the court. I have not retired from life, so I am doing a number of things that make me very productive and make me very happy. Mostly people oriented. I love dealing with people, and that gives me a great deal of satisfaction.
Well, thank you so much.
It's great
Thank you for
being
coming
here.
in. It was great
being here.
It was beautiful meeting you. The nicest judge in the world,
For real.
Judge Frank Caprio. Thank you so much.
My pleasure to be here.
Thanks. Hey, ¿te gustó? Bueno, sigue viendo. Te puedes dar a este video acá, puedes reír, puedes llorar, te vas a enterar de un montón de cosas. Suscríbete y dale a la campanita para que te lleguen los alerts la próxima vez que yo suba un video. Es gratis.